We've all been waiting for this day. Finally, the Ripple v. SEC trial is drawing to a close. And what does that mean, do you know? Yes, exactly. A sharp increase in XRP's price. All of the leading crypto professionals are currently discussing that topic. Furthermore, their forecasts are quite astounding. Some predictions indicate that XRP's price may rise to $11,890. This isn't a joke either. These are accurate forecasts derived on professional study and market trends. Let's be clear about this. This is a video you won't want to miss. Let's get right to the point without further ado. Disclaimer. It appears that the protracted legal dispute between the SEC and Ripple Labs is finally coming to a close. And not just with a whine, but with a ruling that might change how XRP and digital asset regulation are governed in the future. Both parties have filed a joint motion indicating a desire to reach a settlement after more than 4 years of legal sparring. The motion is more than a simple procedural step. It is a meticulously planned attempt to settle a lawsuit that has plagued XRP and Ripple since December 2020. The motion's main goal is to remove the long-standing ban on institutional sales of XRP. If approved, Ripple would once again have greater freedom to interact with institutional partners, opening the market segment that has been blocked by court-imposed limitations. However, this goes beyond Ripple reselling XRP. Restoring confidence in a digital asset that has been marginalized after winning many significant court cases against the SEC's allegations is the goal. A suggested reallocation of monetary penalties is also described in the motion. As per the agreement, the SEC would receive $50 million and Ripple would receive $5 million. This change in the punishment system is noteworthy not because of the quantities, but more because of what they stand for. A shift from punishment to reconciliation is a unique instance of pragmatism from the SEC, which has typically taken a tough approach against cryptocurrency companies. Bitcoin reactions on Twitter were swift. Bull Run Wonka tweeted, "SEC versus Ripple settlement on the horizon," expressing what many people assume is imminent. There was a significant development in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit today, according to attorney Bill Morgan, who was quoted by Jack the Rippler. "The matter will be resolved at any moment." Steph underlined the mounting excitement in another tweet. A decision by the Ripple SEC is anticipated today. Massive institutional inflows into XRP could result from a victory. The motion's effort to change Judge Annalisa Torres's final decision may be its most important component, as noted by prominent legal commentator and XRP advocate Bill Morgan. "This isn't merely a formality," Morgan says. "It serves as the proposed agreement's legal foundation. It is a difficult hurdle to overcome. The court must be persuaded that extraordinary circumstances warrant such a modification. Unless there is a very good reason, courts usually don't change their final decisions. There's a chance the judge will consider the request to be more expedient than necessary. Additionally, there is no assurance that this request would be granted, as a prior joint file was quickly dismissed earlier this year. But there is still a lot of hope. The motion has a 70% probability of being approved, according to attorney John Deaton, who represents more than 75,000 XRP investors. If that occurs, XRP may eventually regain its prominence as a respectable infrastructure layer for institutional finance, rather than merely as a speculative asset, and Ripple would be free to restart its wider market operations. Additionally, the clearance would send a strong message to other blockchain initiatives that are under regulatory scrutiny. That can be resolved, and it is possible to achieve clarity. The court's rejection of the motion, however, would result in additional delays, increased ambiguity, and a protracted halt to the institutional adoption of XRP. There would also be important ramifications for the larger market. The way that U.S. regulators interpret securities rules in connection with cryptocurrency has been seen as being tested by this case. If Ripple wins, it would put the SEC's present enforcement strategies to the test and could change the way future crypto cases are handled. Not just for XRP holders or Ripple, but for an entire sector that has been yearning for transparent, equitable regulation, this moment feels crucial. With the court's impending ruling, a new era may begin in which innovation won't have to worry about lawsuits at every turn. The cryptocurrency community waits till then in the hopes that this legal marathon is finally coming to an end. Naturally, analysts are forecasting explosive growth in the wake of Ripple's triumph. I assure you that this is the largest object we have ever seen. It will be more than simply a legal victory if Judge Torres grants this request. It will provide institutional investors permission to pour money into XRP. You're going to discover why this signal might be the most bullish in cryptocurrency history. Thus, they made fun of Noah until it began to rain, Imonix tweeted. Now they're making fun of XRP. Permit them. The arc is nearly finished. Language like that speaks to something more profound than market cycles. It's about having faith in a system that has endured despite being frequently criticized, misinterpreted, and disregarded. The emotional intensity of these forecasts is reaching its zenith. Steph stated, XRP is about to explode just like Bitcoin did. Additionally, you'll come across post after post with really high goals if you browse around cryptocurrency Twitter. Crypto Sensei claims that $10,000 XRP is manifesting. Brett goes further than that. XRP might reach $11,190. Then there's Barry C's widely shared tweet. Explain your reasoning to me. They offered a more realistic viewpoint, arguing that XRP would probably sell closer to $35 rather than $1,000 if it were to reach the market capitalization of Bitcoin. They came to the conclusion that $1,000 is a unicorn dream. Dreams still die hard. The tenacity of the XRP army is well known. Robert Smith and other critics contend that these price targets are more myth than reality. This has been happening to me ever since XRP was introduced. And that's not even close to it, he wrote. Defiance is a countercurrent that is becoming more and more powerful every day. Let's be truthful. $1,000 worth of XRP would indicate trillions in value based only on supply and market capitalization. Unless we enter a drastically different economic system or XRP becomes the foundation of the global financial infrastructure, levels that today appear improbable will eventually become the norm. And the most fervent believers are counting on that very thing. They do not trade in order to make quick money. They are preparing for a moment when XRP will be utilized in smart contracts, tokenized assets, real-time cross-border transactions, and even central bank infrastructure. Additionally, the door may now be opening for institutions to view XRP as a valid tool for international settlement, rather than as a legal risk with the potential easing of prohibitions through this joint motion. Demand might change as a result. Therefore, as Dark Defender stated, phrases like XRP melting faces are more than just hype. They're expressing a passion that has been suppressed for far too long. Will XRP reach $100, $1,000, or $10,000? Practically speaking, those figures necessitate unusual situations and paradigm changes in investor behavior and global finance. However, there is more to the current optimism than just pricing. It's about hope, about validation following years of derision. And even the doubters may have to concede if Ripple manages to win a last court battle. The arc isn't just finished, it's getting underway. Let's now discuss the revolutionary collaboration that is causing a stir within the XRP ecosystem. XRP is already heating up, as we well know. However, this might be the spark that ignites the whole thing. This most recent action has the potential to be historic in addition to being significant. You'll be amazed at what's going on behind the scenes right now. This might fundamentally alter how Ripple and global